move on now to our top 5 moments of the year. And I'm going to start this off. Similar to my 5th best show, or one of my top 5, as again, Brody Lee that show wasn't ranked. But Edge returning at the Royal Rumble, I thought it was one of them where, even though a lot of us were already fairly sure it was going to happen, the crowd reaction, just what it meant, and not just for Edge, but like everyone who's got a career-ending injury, it was like a bit of hope for anyone like that. We never thought we'd see Edge again, and he was one of my favorites, like when I was younger, and it just kind of put the cherry on the top of that, like what, in my opinion, is the best Royal Rumble ever, or at least the best one I've watched. And he was just nice. Obviously, it led to that terrible match at WrestleMania with Randy Orton, but then it led to actually a pretty good one at Backlash, I think. And then he got injured again, so that was sad. But yeah, it was a nice moment, and again, it was just like everything apart from the camera work was perfect.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that camera work was terrible. I've got Royal Rumble here as well, but I've particularly listed McIntyre's sort of rise. It was like that tipping point then of like really acknowledging the fact that we all thought that McIntyre definitely had the potential to be up there in the card, be up there in the main events and such. But this was the first time...
Well, you said you didn't really care about him, and then after
I didn't
this
care.
match, you were like, ooh.
Well, no, to be honest, after this match, I didn't even think, or anyway, I just...
No, but
like, I didn't, in my opinion. I didn't. It's not... Although I'm in the camp, really, with McIntyre, where I don't particularly care. I've got no... And I don't know why. I really don't know why. It's just, I think sometimes, right, there are times with wrestlers that you connect with some and you just don't connect with others, and I can't pin as to why. And I think McIntyre is that one for me. But objectively speaking, as much as I possibly can, without getting too personal with it, I think that moment where he does turn up and the eye to eye with Brock Lesnar, Brock Lesnar's been dominant, and then you see like Brock Lesnar aced his role as well in this, where he actually put over McIntyre as a legitimate threat. And then the time when Ricochet helped as well in helping get rid of Lesnar out of the match, given the Super Showdown he had lost to him, it's like getting his spot as well. I think that moment as a whole serves, especially with the stare down afterwards as well. Just that entire like little bit of a sequence there was brilliant. Was really well done. It was WWE done really well. It's simple. It's so simple in terms of its storytelling, but it's so effective. And I like the intricacy, the little WWE and nuance. With Ricochet helping as well, given that Ricochet previously lost to Lesnar, I just think that's a nice little touch as well. So so I've just got that for the Royal Rumble as well. Just a nice little thing there.
That's fair enough. For my next one, I think you might have this as well. Because I think a lot of people have this, but I've got MJF whipping Cody, and that whole segment. I think it's just one of those where it's like, if you watched it and you were invested at the time, you'll know exactly what I mean. But it was just like so full of like drama, that whole kind of segment, and it was just brilliant. That's all I can really say about it. It was a really, really good, one of my favorite segments of the year for sure.
Yeah, that's it. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's just really good. Did you have that one on your top 5? Or?
I didn't.
Bloody hell.
I'm going to go for a silly one.
Okay,
all right. I'm going to go for the Dinner Debonair. Right?
Yeah.
Because I think this stands out as just a particular segment where it suited both men. This was quite a fun time in AEW. Although fairly meaningless. It was the one-upsmanship between the two. It was one trying to get one over the other constantly. Yeah. And they were doing it in a variety of ways, whether that was... They're in agreement of, this guy sucks, this guy sucks, this guy sucks, and then... But you rock, and like, they praise one another, and then, of course, they leave each other's space, and then they shit on one another, just like stuff like that. But then this was like this turned up to 11. And it was all over social media. It was, and they just done it wonderfully. That's all. It was just really fun. And again, you talk about, I understand people talk about wrestling and like, this is going to crop up quite a bit later on as well. Like, you've got to think of these moments in terms of where they land and what their purposes are. You've got to rate them on what their intentions are.
Yeah.
You can't rate this. You can't rate this and MJF here in a debonair in the same way as him whipping Cody.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's just not right. It's just stupid. It's pointless because they're two very different things trying to achieve two very different results.
Yeah.
And so I think what this was intending to do, it excelled at in creating more tension, but creating vast amount of entertainment and using two men at their finest. We get to see another side of MJF. We get to see Chris Jericho at his best, And then this all leads to the match that they eventually have. And this has been a long, drawn-out story. Has it been the finest thing in the world? Maybe not, but has it been consistently entertaining? Yes. And has it been consistently fairly strong? I think so. This, alongside them going to Vegas, which wasn't as strong, but was still fantastic. It was just all entertainment. Yeah. So, yeah, I just really enjoyed this.
Yeah, and for people who didn't enjoy it as well, I think that because there are some people who are like, oh, well, that's not kind of what I like in my wrestling, whatever, which is fair enough. But I think as well, people kind of lost the point that these also heels who are supposed to do things that kind of make you cringe or piss you off and stuff like that. If that is how you reacted, like those are the kind of things that are kind of supposed to happen. So even if you just look at it as like, look, I didn't enjoy the show, the segment as a piece of entertainment, you're still then being there like, there's no way you can sit there and be like, oh, these two aren't obnoxious assholes who I don't like, at least, within the context of the show. So, yeah, it was a great moment. It was a great, brilliant segment. I think it was, and again, it won that award in
New York Times.
New York Times, yeah. Or MGF won it anyway, not Jericho. So yeah, I think that goes to show as well, because like it was genuinely a brilliant like performance from the two of them. Sorry, just from MJF. He's the only one who got the award. But yeah, no, brilliant.
Silly, completely silly, but just entertaining. Go on.
I'll move on to my next point, which is Sho defeating Shingo Takagi.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
New Japan Cup. Look, you're thinking Sho Takagi. Takagi's got this. He always beats Sho, blah blah blah, and then Sho just beats him.
Fuck's sake! A man winning is a moment.
It is,
just a random bloke.
Biggest win of Sho's career in terms of his singles career, anyway. Most underappreciated wrestler of the year, probably the best wrestler of the year as well. When we get into my opinions later, but no, it was a great moment. You loved it as well. You can't deny it. You were sitting there like, oh, it's amazing.
This was amazing.
Everyone loved it. Went all over Twitter. Everyone's like, Sho's so good, and I'm like, yeah. I've been saying this since that moment, because I always liked Roppongi 3K, but didn't really think all that much of him. And then this match happened, and you get the best match of the year. So great stuff.
Fair enough. Talking New Japan, Takahashi meltdown at New Japan Dominion. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing
at? It was funny.
Right, like, I think this, after Evil's win, this was the best part of Evil's win as run, like his entire run, like other than the match with Takahashi. Yeah, it's like in terms of Evil's run, this was the best part of it, and it was literally the first 10 minutes of it, and everything else went downhill from there. Okay, yeah. And what that was Naito went off, Evil was there doing his shtick, being a dick, doing his shtick. There we are. That's him. That's Evil now. And then Takahashi comes down, and Takahashi played this role of just utter insanity and wonder as to why this had happened to his stable. Like, he had a promo afterwards which was absolutely fantastic, where he talks about the reason why he joined Lij in the first place, and that was to team alongside Naito and specifically Evil. And for this to happen, it was a cruel fate to him, you know, and all these variety of things. It was him questioning things. It was him writing things all over his wrist tape as to why Evil would do such a thing. It was obviously him having a meltdown later on, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then out of complete and utter frustration, running away from the situation, he literally ran away. And then he did a stellar promo afterwards. I just think that was the best part of Evil winning and turning as a whole. Like, this was... New Japan had a relatively weak year in terms of story for me. Naito winning, that was obviously fantastic. But from that moment onwards, there wasn't a whole lot. And Takahashi, as I'll get into later, one of my favorites of this year. Like, I absolutely adore the guy. So... And this was a huge reason for it. And then we had a match later, and for me, it was Evil's best match during that time as well.
By far.
You know, so, but that's not related to this. Takahashi meltdown in New Japan Dominion. I loved it.
It's great. Well, it's funny you say that, because my next moment is Evil turning heel. It obviously led to one of the best title reigns we've ever seen. One of the best characters we've ever seen. Great ring attire also. Really good. Love the skirt. Obviously, I'm joking.
Breaking barriers, mate.
No, my next moment was Brody Lee defeating Cody for the TNT Championship. I think this is still my favorite ending to an episode of definitely AEW Dynamite, but maybe just an episode of TV. I can't remember. There might have been some really great Raws or SmackDowns back when they were NXTs, but like, it kind of came... I wasn't quite expecting it. And obviously, you know, I was really high on Brody Lee coming to AEW and when he came in and stuff. And when we built to this match, it was like, you know, this is the kind of thing I was hoping was going to be on All Out or something. Because I was hoping, you know, Brody Lee has just come off a pay-per-view performance at Double or Nothing against John Moxley for the world title. And I was thinking, build him now for this title for a pay-per-view, and then maybe he could win in the pay-per-view. And that was kind of my hope. So when they started building it for TV, I was a bit like, I don't know. But when you got what happened afterwards, it's more kind of like the moment afterwards. That's really what like kind of cemented Brody Lee as this great character on Dynamite. And yeah, it was the manner of the match as well. Just, he absolutely killed him, just squashed him. And like there was barely even room for Cody, to make a proper comeback. And then he smacks him over the title over the head with a broken title. They drag out his QT Marshall and his brother, and then Brandy comes out and Anna Jay chokes her out, which led to a really great match in itself. And obviously this all led to a really great rematch as well, which sadly ended up being Brody's last match. But yeah, it was just like... And it was really like ballsy as well, like in terms of the booking, like to end an episode of TV. I think the reason you often wouldn't have something like that is because where it kind of comes out of nowhere is because sometimes it can go completely wrong. But luckily the reaction to this, everyone saw it for what it was, and the reaction to this was really good. And it's just like, it's one of my all-time like favorite kind of segments, just because it was something where it's like, it made complete sense. It all worked. I just wasn't seeing it coming from like a million miles away. It was kind of like the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones. I think a lot of people compared it to that. And yeah, it was just brilliant.
No, it was. Generally, absolutely brilliant. I remember watching that, and it was just absolutely fantastic. It helped elevate the people around him, helped elevate himself.
Dark as a whole was cemented then. That was the thing. Like, obviously, a few months before that, they were kind of, well, I don't know, where's this going? And then start getting over on BT, and then this cemented them on Dynamite. And it was just, it was so good.
It was. Generally, it was absolutely brilliant. Okay, so talking AEW, I've generalized this a bit, only because there's so many of them. And I think people should take time if they ever invest themselves in the story, or most likely people have seen it anyway. But it's the interviews with Page and Omega.
Interviews. That's not
It's
one moment.
I know. It's a cheat. It's a cheat. I know. I know.
Disgraceful.
I'm don't cheat him.
You only need one of them anyway.
Yeah, you only need that one. Yeah, and there's obviously a standout one, that being Page, of course. But I think Omega served his purpose wonderfully as well, and his role in all of this.
Mm,
But this is when I was talking about Breakout Star. Like, this is where you saw Adam Page in his absolute element, and I wouldn't be
mm,
surprised. Like, he's probably one of the best. He's just probably one of the best babyface speakers because he speaks. We talk about characters being extensions of themselves and
mm,
stuff, and like being like over the top, and all these variety of things. But I think Adam Page has found this place that really suits him and is quite unique to him, where
mm.
he's quite reserved and he's quite
Yeah.
real.
Except for those moments where he's like had a few too many, just like
Yeah,
fuck you then, mate.
yeah. But no, but
But
like
yeah,
as we all
generally
do,
speaking,
though,
yeah,
there's
exactly. Yeah,
and
I've never done that.
and I think he's shown, yeah, within those interviews, whether it was Tony Schiavone or Jim Ross, or maybe it was Kenny Omega and Adam Page, or maybe it was the Young Bucks and Adam Page and Kenny Omega all in the same room with one another.
Mm,
It was all absolutely fantastic from beginning to end, whether it was yet the intricacies of where he was placing his drink out of shot and all these variety of things. Um, and there's, whether it was with the Dark Order and they were excited to have him as a tag team partner later down the line, but
mm,
you saw those facial expressions from Hangman where there was a happiness there. There was a sense of maybe a sense of belonging, like something that he's lacked
yeah.
it previously. Those, I'm assuming there. That's all things that the story is sort of trying to get put in you, the thoughts that
Mm,
if you look deep within. So I just think in general those interviews are absolutely phenomenal, and anytime Jim Ross, other than when he says picture in picture, I want to sigh, but when he does say got an interview with Hangman Page, it's just like we've always shut up.
yeah.
We've always during our live streams now, just to be that clear, during our live streams we'll always shut up and we'll always just watch and we'll always just sit back and just take in everything, because you need to pay attention to these things, especially like I focus on Page, but Omega, where he's sitting, the
Yeah.
pictures that are near him, like
Yeah.
like the way in which he talks and a commentary, I just think when there's a microphone on either two men during this year, it's been absolutely stellar. And it's been one of my favorite parts of AEW, even if it's 2 minutes of like not 2 hour technically because ads, but like an hour and 40
Yeah.
minute, 45-minute show. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm generalizing, but it's only because you could pick a standout one, and that's all one.
That's all right, Kieran, because I've picked a stand-up one for
No,
my
no.
moment of the year. I've gone for a Hangman Page's sit-down interview with Tony Schiavone, the one where he puts his drink out of shot. And I just think this is by far the best piece of like acting and character work I think I've ever seen in wrestling. When it comes to like you see a character kind of where they are, and I think a lot of people, WWE fans especially, always like call back to Mankind interviews, which he did with Jim Ross. And unfortunately, they didn't really lead anywhere of real significance. It was more an insight into who he was as a character rather than it meaning anything story-wise. They had so much potential, and I think if you'd given like Mick Foley the opportunity, he would have created something amazing. But obviously, with Vince and the way that creative was in that time, you weren't going to. But with this one, it's like you see him in that state and try and cover it up. But like I think a lot of people had like friends or family member where they're not okay or whatever, and they try to cover it up. And you can kind of just see that in him so well. And it's like I don't know. I'm always like worried if the actual guy is okay or not, because it's just like he's acting it so well.
Hmm.
And it was just so good. all of them, like you said, have been really good. The ones with Omega, especially some of the little details he's added in. And he said even like, oh, there's details that everyone's missed, but that's okay, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure whether that was a heel thing, being like, oh, trying to play up to that, or whether it's genuine. It probably is real. He probably thinks about so much, which like even just a certain camera angle he thinks is conveying a certain message, and maybe subconsciously it does or something. You never know with him, because like he just adds so much detail. But yeah, this one in particular was just like the one. And the reason I loved it so much was because I saw it and I was like, I know this is going to get paid off. I know this means something. A lot of the time, you'll see a really great promo or a really great piece of character work in some other way, but it'll be something that the wrestler's bringing to it, and it's not really going to get paid off. It's just all that, and it's them expressing themselves, but it's not got a deeper meaning, anything beyond that. Maybe a little bit of characterization. Whereas this was just it had to happen basically for the story, and he did it so well. And Shivani in this as well was the perfect guy to put there, because in other ones they've put Jim Ross with Hangman, and Jim Ross is a little bit more tough on him, a little bit more like, come on, old school attitude, whereas Tony kind of just sits there and listens, and then still challenges Hangman, but in a way where he actually has to look in at himself. He can't really be defensive, and they're really great moments in this interview where you really get them. So yeah, I think my favorite wrestling segment ever. Amazing stuff.
It was, yeah, definitely. Oh, bloody hell.
Do you have a final one then? Because I don't have any more.
I have just one final mention, and it's a bit of a cheat one, and I do apologize. This is weird. I struggled on moments. I really did. Because there were so many good ones. And talking of so many good ones, I'm talking about a match I'm talking about the best cinematic match of the year. And that is Stadium Stampede. And the moment
that is Velveteen Dream versus Adam Cole.
And that is, yeah. Moving on. And that is the Stadium Stampede at Double or Nothing 2020. Cinematic matches should not ever be compared to regular matches, ever, because they're completely different things. And this is why I've inserted it in the moments section, because I think a lot of what makes this match is the moments. Yeah. So the moments that you do have is references to past AEW Dynamite episodes, whether that was whether it was Sammy Guevara in the golf cart, and then we get Hangman on his horse going all around the arena. Which was just so stupid. And then we get
Matt Hardy in the pool.
The Matt Hardy in the pool. We had so Adam Page and Kenny Omega at the bar, and Kenny's having a glass of milk, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And then all of this ends, all of it ends. Hang on, I'm not even joking. Like they were throwing each other. I don't watch American football, so I'm not too sure. Like the posts, they were throwing each other off them. They were doing loads of moves in there. Like and for some reason they had a ring in the middle of it all. It was really. It wasn't
relevant at all by the end of it.
No, it wasn't. It was all just very silly, and it all ended with a one-winged angel, like a ridiculous one-winged angel on Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it ended with a bang, quite literally. And so this was just a standout moment. It was the best cinematic match. And in a world where cinematic matches, they were necessary, because, given the time, things did have to change from time to time. And this was a route that some companies decided to go down. And I think AEW did it best with this.
And for sure.
So, that's it. I just think it's a fair spot to put that particular match in, because it's all about the moments.